What's up, people? Welcome to your one-stop shop for the biggest wrestling stories this week. This is Wrestling Roundup Weekly. My name is Mekz, aka Wrestlemania UK, and I'm alongside my co-host Ignacio. On today's episode, absolutely stacked. A lot of news items. We're talking about Cesaro leaving WWE this past week. WWE, they've confirmed the title unification match at Wrestlemania. We've got Vince McMahon possibly stepping back in the ring. We're going to have some interesting things to hear there. And of course, Tony Khan, he's got a big announcement this week. I think by Wednesday, by Dynamite, they want to announce whatever it is. They want to kind of speculate on what that could be. So a completely stacked and loaded show. But first, guys, remember to smash that like button. Subscribe to Wrestling Republic as well on YouTube. And follow Wrestling Republic on Instagram if you're not doing that as well. Ignacio, how are you doing?
Doing pretty good this week. Last week had some mishaps and wasn't able to make the show, so I apologize. But and it was unfortunate because there was an astronomical amount of news last week, but then it's spilling over this week. A lot of cool stuff that we need to cover this week, and a lot of opinions and news that's going to be expressed. So I'm kind of excited about this show.
Yeah, it just doesn't stop. Obviously, last week we had the big news of Cody leaving AEW confirmed. We know he's been working without a contract for some time now, but he's gone. Now this week, obviously not as big, and somewhat you can see it coming. The writing was somewhat on the wall, has been on the wall, but we'll start with this news item. Cesaro leaving WWE. Apparently, he's had a contract offered to him, and maybe the terms weren't, what he was looking for. Obviously, he sees people around him, such as AJ Styles, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, all being offered money, $2 million a year plus, $3 million a year plus in some cases. Maybe the terms weren't quite favorable for Cesaro. He's looking around and thinking, well, am I really even used here? And this is what they want to pay me just to kind of keep me here. And he's opted to leave. So he is a complete free agent, no 90 days. He is, he could turn up on Dynamite on Wednesday if he wanted to. What's your thoughts on Cesaro leaving the WWE?
Well, I love Cesaro, and I've loved his work for a very long time, ever since he started in WWE, and I've seen some stuff with ROH and Chris Hero and their tag team and so forth. I've seen plenty of that. I just think that with Cesaro, and I think a lot of people would agree that it's just with him, it's been a lot of starts and stops, and he got his biggest singles push last year with the program with Roman Reigns. I think that was long overdue. I think it was well done. I just think that he deserved more as a talent. I think the biggest issue with him that WWE probably had with him was probably his lack of charisma. He definitely had some type of connection with the crowd, the audience, because of his in-ring work.
Yeah,
he didn't have any issues there. But I just think it was imminent with the direction that WWE is going, and I don't think Cesaro is too worried about money. I think maybe the reason why he left is because he thinks he has still something to offer, that he still can be a main event player at another promotion. AEW, New Japan, what have you. Because if that were the case, if he was finished trying to prove that he can be a main event star, he would have stayed in WWE, because he wasn't going to move from the mid card or upper mid card, or in this case, I think he was lower mid card at this point. I don't know if you would agree or not, but he wasn't going to move to there. Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, AJ Styles, they know their place in WWE. Kevin Owens knows that he's not going to get elevated to a main event status, or maybe he would, but not going to get a run with the title probably. Sami Zayn knows his place in the company. AJ Styles, he's done it all over the world, doesn't need to prove himself. So those individuals signed for the money to secure their retirement at the end of these careers. Cesaro believes, I believe that Cesaro believes that he still has something to prove and that he can be a main event star at a major platform.
Yeah, I completely agree. Maybe money isn't the motivation for Cesaro. Obviously, it's what's being reported, alongside comparing it with people that have recently re-signed as well. So maybe, you're right. Money isn't the issue here. And to that point as well, I'm not sure that Cesaro has a family like that. I think he has a partner. He's got a girlfriend or something like that. But I don't think he has kids or anything like that. So yeah, that wouldn't be part of his, thought process to stay at WWE. And we can see, apart from AEW, apart from New Japan, the indies are flourishing. Like there are many, many places he can go. And it is a bit more hard work walking into all of these places and stuff like that, rather than being in your kind of comfortable bubble. But Cesaro is a son of the indies. He knows those places. He's done, that way of making his name before. So it's kind of returning to that way of life, even with bigger name value now. He might be the person main event in those cards, rather than opening the cards and or in the mid card. So yeah, he's got a lot to offer.
Well, excuse me, and yeah, he's not gonna be hurting for work anytime soon or in the years to come. He's an astronomical. He's a great talent, but I think, look at it this way. I mean, what another loss for WWE. I mean, and I'll go into. I don't mean to branch off into another direction, but what a match! Imagine this: what an intercontinental title match we could have had with like Cesaro and Sami Zayn going into WrestleMania. I mean, that's like, these two guys are talented, and Sami Zayn, what a character he's become. Yeah. One of the biggest heels in WWE and in the business. And, Cesaro going in as a babyface. I mean, these two are incredible talents. I mean, you're talking about Randy Savage, Ricky Steamboat kind of stuff that they could have, a kind of match they can have at WrestleMania. Instead of, it looks like we're going to get fucking Johnny Knoxville and Sami Zayn. But I'll get to my point as far as like, man, another wasted talent that WWE had. And unfortunately, I think Cesaro's best run was with Sheamus. I thought that was an incredible tag team. I loved them a lot. Yeah, I absolutely love that tag team, and I think they could have still kept on going. But yeah, it's just another loss for WWE, another big loss that they don't realize, or certain people in that company don't realize, because he wasn't used to his full potential.
I found out about Cesaro in the promotion Shikara. That's where I found out about him and Brody Lee. And when he came over to WWE, obviously he's a great performer, very, very entertaining. I've always been a Cesaro fan. I wasn't always a Sheamus fan. When they formed the Bar, I was in love with those two. Like the fact that those two are in love with each other, those two, Drew McIntyre, we've seen it before, that those are all kind of close-knit friends. And yeah, that really changed my mind on Sheamus, and Cesaro went up a level. Like you said, he kind of had his main event push last year. Last year, and it was good. We saw the WrestleMania match with Seth Rollins, which I thought was excellent. And then he had the program with Roman after WrestleMania. Now, for me, that was WWE. He was never gonna win. Let's just set that straight. He was never gonna win. However, it was to see if he could, hang with the guys up there. And I specifically remember promos within that program where, whether it's his English, which is good, but it's not fluent how the likes of Vince McMahon would want it, and he's generally not a talker. I listened to those promos during that program, and I thought, this is why you're not a main eventer.
Yeah.
This is why. And to be honest, that's the only thing holding him back. His physique is brilliant. His ability is brilliant. Charisma even somewhat is there, but he just doesn't connect once he starts doing the promos. Something for sure he will get away with on the indies, because the indies is, less kind of promo orientated. It's just work rate. But yeah, do you ever feel like WWE gave a fair go with Cesaro to make him that kind of main event person?
Well, as you were, I was remembering back as you were talking about, as far as his promo skills and his charisma. I mean, years ago, back in when they first tried to give him kind of a big push, it was back at after WrestleMania 30
with Heyman. Was that with Heyman?
I believe that's when he won the first big battle royal, the Andre the Giant battle royal. And then they were giving him that push, and they put Paul Heyman with him. And for some reason, it just didn't connect, or, Heyman tried, WWE tried at the time. Maybe there was too soon, right? but they tried to give him that push, and him and Heyman just didn't connect. I think, you know, Heyman's brilliant at promos or so forth, or maybe they just didn't give it a chance long enough, because it had to be like a 2-3 month run or something, maybe, but it just didn't mesh well. Maybe they didn't give it long enough. So and then in between then, I don't think they really tried to give him another mouthpiece. Oh, that they did the whole thing with the they gave him a Zeb Coulter and the whole Un-Americans deal. That was good, and then they tried to give him the singles push. But man, I just don't. You're right. It was just his promos, but it's just I just think they think that at the end maybe they didn't give him and Heyman a long enough push. I think maybe if they would have lasted a little bit longer, it would have been good. Or maybe if they would have just found somebody else for him, things could have been better. But yeah, it's the promos that held him back. But man, it's just with some guys, I get it. Promos, I'm a promo guy. I love a guy who can do a good promo. But maybe what could have been if they just would have let his in-ring work speaks for itself. I think he could have been Look who's held the title of the past few years. I mean, tell me Cesaro isn't better than at least half those guys. And what would have been hurt the company if they just maybe would have given him a 6-month run or something, you know?
Yeah. especially when we're in a time where there's 2 world championships, so they could still have, you know, the big Roman Reigns or Brock Lesnar carry one of those championships, and then we all see the other one as the secondary title anyway, so they could have given that to Cesaro. I mean, I'm not someone that wants pity title runs, but I think it's even a shame that the likes of Cesaro wasn't, you know, like a 5-time Intercontinental champion, a 5-time US champion. There's people in the mid card like Dolph Ziggler, Miz, people of that ilk, which completely just run the mid card, and they didn't even really give him that. Like tag team was his thing. But even, you know, from a singles approach, even in the mid card, he just never really got a goal. Like he could have just done something easy, like week to week, open challenges with the IC title and just put on brilliant matches week to week.
Clinics,
yeah. And I don't know, they didn't even give him that.
Not even one Intercontinental title run, right? Not even one.
I don't think he was in. Not at all.
All US title runs, tag title runs, Raw, SmackDown, whatever how you want to call it, but whatever. But not even. Now, I would have look, because they did it with Samoa Joe. I would have even been pretty cool to him to go back down to NXT and have him run with the NXT title, maybe when Adam Cole was there and so forth. Imagine that, because at one point in time, everybody was saying whoever's the NXT champion is the real WWE champion. That was going on for a while. You know, until Roman Reigns came around and so forth, and you know, but yeah, that would have been cool to see. But he didn't even get that opportunity. It's just sad. It's a big loss for WWE, whether they want to admit it, realize it or not.
Imagine Cesaro at takeovers, as they used to be, as we love them. Like he would have been absolutely incredible. But
with Tommaso Ciampa and Adam Cole and you know, at the time Drew McIntyre,
I got goosebumps thinking about it. But yeah, I mean, he's gone now. Where do you think, if you were to hedge a bet of maybe the first place he's going to turn up? Man, literally, like we said, there's no 90 days. It could literally be as early as this week. Where would you think you'd see him first?
Well, he's familiar with a lot of guys from AEW, because I mean he's been in the Indies with all those guys, so that'd be a national trans. Imagine with the matches he can have back with Bryan Danielson, right? And Daniel Garcia and those guys that are very technically sound, you know, that'd be tremendous. And then go, you know, if you want to throw like other guys with other styles like Kenny Omega and stuff in there. But yeah, that would be a natural fit. But I'd like to see him do some New Japan stuff, you know, with those folks over there, with Sonata, Zack Sabre Jr. and those guys. That'd be awesome to see. That you know, so yeah. But I think with the whole 90 days thing not being that big a deal anymore, because he doesn't have it, I wouldn't be surprised to see him on Dynamite or Rampage or whatever, or debuting in AEW within the next couple of weeks.
That could be interesting. That could be very interesting. Maybe post Revolution, once we've got the pay-per-view out the way. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So yeah, Cesaro, a free agent, leaving WWE, but WWE have done something this past week, which has, it seems to have pleased a lot of wrestling fans. they have said the title versus title, Brock Lesnar, WWE champion, versus Roman Reigns, Universal champion. It's not just a champion versus champion match with no stakes at WrestleMania anymore. It's a title unification match. Like I said, this has come as like great news to a lot of wrestling fans because they feel like, there should only be one world champion, and they struggle to book one world champion, let alone, two across two brands.
Yeah.
What was your initial thoughts, Ignacio, when you heard that this was going to be a title unification match and not just champion versus champion?
my initial reaction was, what are the betting odds that how long is this going to last? Because
I thought that as well,
because it's not. I mean, they're trying to sell tickets to the show.
Mm-hmm.
The WrestleMania, the ticket sales are abysmal. If they get 50,000 fans in there, I'd be surprised on each night. I just don't think they're not doing that well. Ticket sales are going down. Ticket prices are going down. It's not they're not, and you know what? They're not putting up the card that everybody wants to see. I mean, everybody wants to see Brock and Roman. I want to see that match. But I don't think they think Ronda Rousey's going to be the draw that that everybody thought she was. I think because now, and the reason why I'm saying that now is because now I think they've mentioned a couple times in passing that now probably the main event for not one is going to be Bianca Belair and Becky Lynch.
Do you think they're going to change it?
I think so. I think they kind of mentioned it, unless the announcers made a mistake or what have you, and they let it slip. And if they did, Vince McMahon probably went ballistic. But they mentioned that Bianca was going to main event.
I know what you're talking about.
With it. I don't know.
They tend to call like every WrestleMania match at this point that's been announced. They tend to call it the main event.
Yeah,
and we know 3 or 4 or 5 matches can't all be the main event. So well, then I think that's what it was.
Okay, well then my mistake, but wouldn't be a bad idea to change it because I don't think, like I said, going back, because I don't think Ronda Rousey's the draw that she thought he was, and now with the whole Johnny Knoxville thing, that's fucking abysmal. I think they're trying to cater to the Hollywood crowd, which is Johnny Knoxville's this deep celebrity. They're not putting up the card that everybody wants to see. They're not putting the storylines that everybody wants to see on TV. So those ticket sales are down. So now they're trying to remedy it with presenting this match as a title unification, which I agree fans want to see. They want to see one championship. But then what title are they going to get rid of? The WWE title that's had all these lineage for 60, 70 years? Or are they going to get rid of the Universal title that Roman Reigns has had and carried for the past over a year, almost a year and a half, that he's, legitimized that title somewhat. So which one are they going to create a whole new title? So it doesn't matter because, I don't know if they're planning on getting rid of the brand split. They tried to do this years ago where they tried to, just make one title. It didn't work. They went back to the brand split. They went back to both titles. I mean, it's to me, it's confusing. They don't have legitimacy, or they don't have the fans' trust, and that they're going to stick with one idea and just run with it and try it for a while and see if it works. I think it's bullshit. I think I'm just waiting for the match itself, right? And I think Roman Reigns, and the best idea would be have Roman Reigns take both titles. That way they still have a strong, legitimate, not that Brock wouldn't be a legitimate champion, but they've been building Roman Reigns so much, so hard for so long. I think it would just be a travesty just to not have him come out with both titles. Then he comes out more stronger than ever, which gives him the opportunity to build a huge baby face for 6 months to a year, 9 months a year, somebody that can really knock him down. And, I think it's the direction they needed to go.
Yeah, the baby facing question I was just suggesting there is Drew McIntyre. I've always been of the belief that Drew McIntyre is going to be the guy to dethrone Roman Reigns. But yeah, like you're completely right. They need to start building him. They need to start giving him, good things, to do. Not, these programs with Madcap Moss and Happy Corbin. But you're right. Roman Reigns is the guy. He has to beat Brock. I remember very early into the title reign. I'm not sure if you saw this, like maybe a year ago or so now. It came out that WWE want to make Roman Reigns the greatest of all time. And this is how you do it. This, he's been on this terror reign with the Universal title. He goes and kills Brock, who is, one of the guys that we've grown with for years and years now, one of the terrors of WWE. He beats Brock. He unifies the titles, or he carries 2 titles, or he unveils a brand new title. However they want to do it, Roman has to walk out of Mania with both of those titles if they're still on this mission to make Roman the guy. And then, like you said, the big bad heel needs dethroning, so they need to start building the guy that's going to dethrone him. But like you said right at the top of all of this, I very much, I'm a fan of the brand split. I know they don't handle it well, but I'm a fan of everyone having their show. That I feel the show should feel completely different, which they don't. And it gives time for more people to get TV time. If they unify these titles, there's going to be less people having opportunities at the top level. We'll see the likes of Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens and AJ Styles, but how will some of the younger wrestlers get their opportunity? Will the US title and the Intercontinental title become the top titles for Raw and SmackDown, and we have a floating world champion? Or, like you suggested, which I also believe is very possible, is this just a gimmick for WrestleMania, and 2 months down the line at Money in the Bank, that both titles are now going to be available again?
Yeah,
who knows?
Well, I'll go back to what you alluded to a little bit ago. If they did that, if they unified the titles, and that would have to elevate the U.S. title now and then the Intercontinental title, but they've diluted those titles so much over the past few years. It's hard to take them seriously, especially with them looking like they're going to go with Johnny Knoxville and Sami Zayn at WrestleMania. And Damian Priest has been doing a good job. I like Damian Priest a lot, but they're going to have to do something. They should have been doing things now to try to elevate and legitimize this title if they're planning on going in the direction of finally unifying the titles and staying with that idea and that concept. Look, I like the concept of having one world champion, maybe going back and forth to each show. All right, they tried it years ago, and that just, again, I just don't think they gave it enough of a chance. But I like that idea, more of like a traveling champion, quote unquote, whatever. I think it'll work well, right? That means the guys who actually get that main event spot, the chance at Roman or whoever the champion is, will deserve it, undoubtedly deserve it, right? Yeah. Whether it's an up and comer like you bring up like a Damian Priest, or as much as I hate his character, Matt Riddle, or a Braun Breaker, who I think was probably going to make his main event debut by next year or so forth. Whoever that guy is, whoever makes it to that spot is truly deserving. And until then, the mid-card titles, US and Intercontinental title, are going to have to be elevated like next level to like when Bret Hart had it, Shawn Michaels had it, Razor Ramon, and so forth. But do they have the personnel producing and writing to do that? Right.
Yeah, they've got the writing is the that's the contentious bit, but they've got balance for it. They've got an AJ Styles, they've got Matt Riddle, like you said, they've got Seth Rollins, they've got the talents that can carry those titles and make them feel important. Because if you look at the Raw, the upper mid card right now on Raw is absolutely stacked. It's the likes of Seth Rollins, AJ Styles.
Okay.
It's not clear what these guys are even doing at WrestleMania. Not yet. It might become clear after Raw tomorrow, but right now it's not clear because it's completely stacked, and they're relying so much on the part-timers and the celebrities that these guys can't currently get a look in on the card. It's not clear for them. So there's pros and cons to ending the brand split or to having this one floating champion, but like we're saying right now, I think this is just a gimmick to
sell tickets.
On that front, I had so you tell me, I believe the stadium capacity is what, 100,000?
It can get to 100,000, over 100,000. Okay. For boxing matches, Dallas Cowboy games, it's been over 100,000 a number of times.
Okay, so I believe they're doing 2-for-1 tickets at this point.
Are they?
I believe so. I'm sure I've seen that they're doing 2-for-1 tickets, for both days, as in.
Okay.
So yeah, you buy one ticket for day one or whatever, you get the tickets for day two.
Okay.
And from what I was told from a reliable friend yesterday, they've still got 40,000 tickets to sell.
Mm-hmm.
And
for
they've
both
got
nights?
what? I don't know. That's a good question.
Okay.
I don't know. He said 40,000 tickets to sell. But to be honest, that if they're doing buy one get one free, then I guess it's 40,000 for both nights, or maybe 20,000 each, or whatever the case is. I don't know. Oof. But yeah, that sounds like a hell of a lot of tickets still to sell by in a month. WrestleMania is in a month at this point.
Yeah. They're look. It's just like I'm going with a buddy of mine, and we got our tickets for night 2, mm-hmm. right? Because we thought whatever main event they decided, we bought our tickets back in November, I think, or October, whenever they first went on sale. The first week they went on sale. November, yes. Because you know what? Because I remember, because I was sitting at a bar waiting for my flight. That's when I was flying out to Minnesota for Full Gear.
Okay,
I bought my ticket. So, yeah. So, I mean, we bought our tickets for night 2, and we just said, like, we were going to the New Japan show on Friday of WrestleCon, and then we're going to midday Saturday. They're throwing an indie show where the Cardonas are going to headline. Okay. And then so it's like after that show I think it ends at 6:00. We're like, man, we can probably do a walk up to WrestleMania at the stadium, at AT&T Stadium, get probably like $50 tickets. 20, probably $30. That's what people were waiting for the walk up. That's probably what they're waiting for. Now, are they going to sell out that stadium? No way. I mean, 100,000 people on both nights. They can't. I mean, it's just the card's not there. The storylines aren't there. The desire isn't there. A lot of people wait for WrestleMania this year or whatever, because it's like a week-long deal event. You have independent shows there. Yeah, it's a festival. You got independent, not just WWE stuff, but I mean, you got independent shows there. You got WrestleCon, which is basically everybody who's not signed to WWE is there doing autographs and matches and so forth. And then you got, ROH does shows, Impact and so forth. So a lot of people go to that and then might go to WrestleMania Access, and that's it. Like, and then watch WrestleMania on TV or at a bar or something. But yeah, it's just the desire to go and to actually expend the effort to spend the money to buy prime tickets or whatever. There's just like, fuck that. The shows sucks. The program suck. We'll just walk up, and just buy our tickets and get them for half of what they were the day before or even the week before.
Yeah. We got a comment here from Soul Game Man 123, which pretty in line with what you're saying. WWE are going to end up starting a meal deal to sell tickets to Mania. Yeah, just giving them away, practically just giving them away between WWE and fans reselling and all that kind of stuff. It's not looking great, but maybe they should have, especially because the stadium capacity is like up to 100 grand, and this is like the first proper WrestleMania after the whole pandemic stuff. Maybe they should have just done one night this time. Went back to doing just one night and get everyone in for one night, get everyone, pumped for one night. And then next year, when things have kind of, the ship has kind of, balanced out, in Hollywood, they do 2 nights again.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We're talking about trying to sell WrestleMania tickets. I was shocked maybe about a week ago or so, I think, and this is one of the topics that I'm not sure we talked about because we never had a show last week. But we saw that, the rumors are Austin might be returning. Mm-hmm. They might be getting Stone Cold to come back, which absolutely shocked me. And then I was absolutely flabbergasted was it yesterday or 2 days ago now, when I'm hearing Vince McMahon may enter the ring at WrestleMania. He is going to be on the Pat McAfee show. Pat McAfee show. Is it next week? Next week Thursday, or this coming Thursday? And apparently, this is to start a program for WrestleMania where Vince it's going to be billed as a match. So Vince is getting back in the ring. Now, a lot of people have spoken about there could quite easily be a proxy for Vince. because Vince is like, 76 or so, nearly 80 years old.
Yeah.
So, and Austin Theory, they've been in this storyline. Austin Theory could be the man to step in.
Yeah.
Again, a lot of people have said, Cody could be someone to step into this program, either step in for Vince or step in for Pat McAfee. And it's like Pat McAfee and Vince are doing, they're just the cornermen, something akin to what, Vince and Donald Trump done all those WrestleManias ago. I mean, if there's nothing that smells of desperation, it's this. Vince McMahon thinking that I need to take this WrestleMania by the scruff of the neck myself and get in the ring and do this and show them how it's done and sell tickets ultimately. What was your thoughts when you heard of Vince McMahon might be returning to the ring for WrestleMania?
Yeah, it's fucking ridiculous. I mean, it's like you in active desperation. They're doing anything they can now to bump up their ticket sales, to not embarrass themselves. They're going to have to do the best camera work they can, not to shoot all those empty seats. But anyway, yeah, I'm thinking along the lines that Pat McAfee had a little run in NXT there where he did pretty good. He didn't do too bad at all. So it wouldn't be surprised to have to see him in the ring, especially since they probably told him he's gonna be at WrestleMania, the biggest platform they have, a month and a half out. He probably going down to the Performance Center to get some training in. So I don't think it's going to be a shock to see him actually wrestle. But who his opponent's going to be? Yeah, they're probably they're going to put a filler in there. They're going to, and I see Austin Theory, because he doesn't have anything going into WrestleMania, does he? They haven't said. I didn't see anything with him on Raw or anything yet.
No, he doesn't.
So yeah, this in my opinion was supposed to be the Shane McMahon spot.
Possibly,
and now
yeah.
he's just and now it's going to be Austin Theory in there. That's my take on it. So I think you're probably going to see Theory in there with Pat McAfee, which I'd rather see Austin Theory doing something else at WrestleMania, like maybe with Damian Priest and maybe taking the U.S. title off of him. But I mean, that's in my opinion what it's going to end up being. This is just like all smoke and mirrors and all that stuff, as far as like try to dress it up, get the news out there, get them talking about WrestleMania coming closer to the event to sell more tickets. Let's say that Vince McMahon is going to step in the ring. Yeah, fucking 80 years old or 76, 77 years old. No. It's just going to be another, Pat McAfee. He's a podcaster. He's a color commentator. He's still a semi-celebrity among the sports and entertainment world. So they're trying to draw more fans, more eyes to the product by putting him in a match. So yeah, Vince McMahon's not getting in the ring. It's probably going to be Pat McAfee against Austin Theory, which it's kind of interesting. But like I said, I'd rather see Austin Theory doing something more that's going to be more productive to his career.
Yeah, exactly. I don't really think. Yeah, Pat McAfee is somewhat of the celebrity like you just mentioned. But even if it's Pat McAfee versus Austin Theory, I don't see how that really helps Austin Theory. It gives him a WrestleMania match, but for those that remember, he's already wrestled at WrestleMania before.
Sure,
he wrestled at the WrestleMania where there was no fans. Yes, but he was there. He wrestled a tag match, I believe it was. So yeah, I don't really see how this helps him. I was thinking at first maybe Pat McAfee versus Cody. Both of those guys are right at this point cemented in wrestling and cemented outside of wrestling. So I thought Cody versus Pat McAfee could work, especially because Pat McAfee was talking some nonsense about Cody on his show. It was all kind of fun and stuff, but they could turn it into something if they wanted to.
Well, let me ask you this, because you've been paying more attention to what's been going on online and stuff, and I just here and there try to catch up. But do you think that Cody's debut in WWE is imminent, or do you think they'll wait till the day after WrestleMania? I think they're going to wait till the day after WrestleMania.
I think they should wait till the day after WrestleMania. Mm-hmm. However, if they're trying to sell tickets for WrestleMania, it sounds like a no-brainer to stick Cody in there. The only thing is, what's the program? Who you giving him and stuff like that? Yeah. I wouldn't want you just to give Cody a match. Again, like this random feud now that we're talking about with Vince McMahon and Pat McAfee and stuff like that. Just don't stick him in something like that just to put him on WrestleMania. But yeah, I think like the best use for him, or possible use for him, very sports entertainment-y, like Cody versus Pat McAfee. I think that could work. I think it will do more than just sticking Austin Theory in there. He'd be a good win for Cody, and then you'd move on to him on Raw. But even that is I'm just thinking with the whole title unification thing. Roman comes out with both belts. Roman is opening up Raw the next day. Like, will Cody feel like an afterthought at that point? It's possible.
Yeah, no. I don't know. I mean, look, Cody coming into WWE is going to be a big deal for the sports entertainment world because of his affiliation with the company before AEW, during AEW, and now after AEW. Yeah. It's just what Cody believes, what he wants to do, what they allow him to do. Which are they going to put the handcuffs on him like they do everybody else, or are they going to give him a little bit of free reign? I think it's the former instead of the latter because look at the talent. In Vince McMahon's eyes, Cody Rhodes isn't John Cena or The Rock or Steve Austin, and he's nowhere close to that. So he's not going to give Cody free reign that he would give anybody else or The Undertaker, because, Cody is a great guy. He's a great guy. He's a great talent. He's a great, wrestler, but he doesn't have that level of fandom. He has that level of persona and fandom as far as a heel. If they allow him to be a heel in WWE, which is I think where they need to go. But I mean, who knows? I don't think it's Cody Rhodes, being watered down, shows up on Raw, whatever. I don't think no. But Cody's career is going to be dependent on where they go with him, of course, and what they allow him to do. If he just gives in and says, well, I'm not in AEW anymore. I'm not the face of the company. I don't have to do all this charity work, this, etc., and appearances. So I can do whatever I want now. And if I want to be a heel, if that's what the fans want me to be, well, then I'll be a fucking heel. And then if that's the case, he'll be the best heel on the program.
Do you not think that someone will have a word with Cody and be like, someone have a word with Vince and be like, this guy, he has 2 shows on TNT outside of AEW. Like, in terms of, a crossover mainstream star, he's pretty up there. If we're going to rank like WWE crossover mainstream stars, Cody's top 5, if not top 3 of the current roster.
I mean, I guess. I mean, like, what do you like? You're comparing him to the Miz and stuff like that, or like?
No, that's what I'm. But what I'm saying is, the likes of Vince McMahon, he likes that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah.
So
okay.
Cody should slip right in and be treated as such. And obviously, I don't think Cody's gonna come and not have some kind of either clause in his contract or control over something, some creative or something. You see what I mean? He probably won't even sign if they don't set out like a 6 to 12 month plan for what he's come here to do. So he recently came out and said right now he's nothing but a stay-at-home dad. So maybe he's happy doing that unless WWE kind of prove him otherwise. But Vince stepping into the ring, I can't lie. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. But
and you just mentioned at the beginning of this topic that they called they're advertising Steve Austin. I don't think Steve Austin's going to have that much of a match or a match altogether. If he does have a match, it's going to be a tag team match because he's almost 60 fucking years old. And yes, he's in a lot better shape than a lot of guys in Vince McMahon and so forth, but he's 57, 58, something like that. I'm pretty sure they probably told him 2 months out, hey, if they sign the deal, start getting ready. And he is getting ready and he is training. But still, he's not going to be the Steve Austin of 20 years ago, 19 years ago, which was the last time he fucking wrestled.
Yeah.
And who knows what condition his neck is in and so forth. It's probably, if he does wrestle, even if in a tag team match, I guarantee you it's the biggest WrestleMania one-night payoff of all fucking time.
Probably, yeah.
bigger than Mike Tyson when he did his deal, bigger than fucking Shaq and maybe Mayweather or whatever the fuck. Yeah, not Shaq, Mayweather, but I mean, yeah, it's going to be a tag team match. I mean, you know, so they're just trying to pull off all the stops to bump ticket sales. But Vince McMahon, 80 years old, you know, not much of an athlete other than, you know, his work in the gym is not going to be fucking wrestling at WrestleMania.
I'll tell you what, I would be super disappointed if Austin came out to wrestle. Like, don't get me wrong, when the glass breaks, I'm gonna lose my mind like everybody else.
Yeah.
But like, he is someone, or should I say, there's very few people that said they're retired and stayed retired. Shawn Michaels was one of them. Shawn Michaels decided to go to Saudi Arabia and have that atrocious match. Yeah, I just want Austin, even if Austin goes and has a really good match, just no. Like, we need to move away from this. We need to move away from these guys. And, you know, The Rock next year, if we get him at Hollywood, to be honest, that's the one that I want the most. That's the like the last one, because The Rock hasn't officially retired. This should be it. And to obviously his bloodline, his cousin, his family, this should be it. Like, this is how it should happen, and then he could calls it a day. I guess the likes of Triple H haven't officially retired, but Triple H is obviously, he's got some health issues at the minute. Batista retired a couple years back in a match with Triple H. So the Undertaker's retired and going into Hall of Fame. The older guard now are actually calling it a day, and hopefully they step away for good. Like, and that's what I just see with Austin. Like, 20 years, like you said, we don't need to see this. We really don't.
They need to, and I'll branch up for what you're saying. They need to move away from this concept for the betterment of the company.
Yes,
and I'm not just talking about Austin and Brock Lesnar, and even though I love Brock, you know, and these other guys, they need to start building stars. And they need to tell themselves, we need to stop with the celebrities and stop with bringing back the guys of 10, 15, 20 years ago to carry our program and our main show, WrestleMania, and just stick with the guys we have and just build them up, get some good storytelling going, get them in the training center, the training center in Florida, build up their skills, and just work with the guys we have. And for better for better or for worse, we need to just stick with it and work with who and what we have now. And exactly. two years from now, they'll benefit from it, because it's not like they're Saudi Arabia, the deal they have with Saudi Arabia will keep them afloat for the next 10 years. So who gives a fuck if they? Let's just stick with who we have now, work with what we have now. Let's not rely on nostalgia to keep us going, and just stick with the guys we have now and build them up now, and it'll benefit us 2 years from now. That's what they need to do. I'm talking about guys like Edge and also AJ Styles. He's a great talent. Use these guys to keep building talent, but let's not use them as a crutch to carry us on all these big shows going forward.
I also think it's very disheartening for the talents that are working, you know, Mondays and Friday nights. And when it comes to WrestleMania season, all the older guys just come back, you know, whether that's to sell the tickets or, you know, they're the draws. I think is very disheartening for the younger talents, and they're going to wait for, it's how long are they going to wait for their big break? But yeah, we'll see. We've got obviously Raw tomorrow night, SmackDown at the end of the week, and we'll see what the WrestleMania lineup is looking like. It's gonna keep evolving week to week now, so we'll make it a point to touch in and see what's going on there. But before we finish today, let's just switch over to AEW. Tony Khan has said he's got a big announcement that should be ready to be made by Wednesday. I assume they're going to make it on Dynamite because he's saying Wednesday. Let's speculate. Okay. What do you think this is?
Absolutely no idea. I mean, I've heard things from he absorbed or purchased another company like ROH or Impact or something. I've heard stuff like that. I heard it might be another big signing along with the purchase of another entity.
Yeah.
But I have no idea. There's been just so much stuff online about what he's thinking about doing that I'm absolutely. This one, it's not just, if it is another signing, it's just not another big signing, right? It's something else associated with another organization or another company or another entity. Maybe he has what would you call it? A exclusive deal with New Japan or something like that. I don't know. Okay. What have you heard?
So what I think it is, due to the verbiage he's used, he said that this is going to change wrestling and this, that, and the other. I thought, yeah, maybe he's bought Ring of Honor, and he's going to fund Ring of Honor. Maybe even, this might be a bit wild, but send Cody over there to manage Ring of Honor or something like that. But yeah, I thought maybe he's acquired Ring of Honor. A lot of other sources are talking about it being like a big stadium show. Okay. Jacksonville, I don't know what American football team plays there. Jacksonville Jaguars, is it?
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, so Jacksonville's actual stadium, he is thinking of, running a co-promotion big live event there. Okay. So, AEW, Impact, Ring of Honor, New Japan. That's what a lot of outlets are speculating is the big announcement, which would be very fun. It'll be very, very fun. I'm not sure how much of a change of wrestling, that he's alluding to that will be. Ring of Honor don't even have a business as it currently stands. There's just free agents everywhere. And I mean, the last Super Show I saw was the Noah New Japan one, and it was a bunch of tag matches because I guess nobody wants their talents to lose. Sure. So if they're gonna do something like that, then they're already off to a bad start for me. Yeah. There has to be stakes. There has to be people that win or lose, and whatever the case is, singles matches, not just a bunch of tag matches. But yeah, I think he's either acquired. I don't think this is a signing at all. I think he's acquired a company, or he's gonna own Ring of Honor. Maybe the Ring of Honor tape library, which they were talking about before, or this is the stadium show that everyone is saying that maybe he's gonna do the stadium show sometime later this year.
So this stadium show, you're saying it's going to be in conjunction with other companies, but like if it's successful, would he try to make this kind of like his WrestleMania maybe?
I don't mind it because I do think they need something like that. They need like a landmark show.
Because they don't have one right now, really.
Yeah, I mean, they have like 4 pay-per-views a year. Yeah. Very, very good. And this is like I was saying to my friend the other day, this is like coming into their pay-per-view season now. If you remember, between November, Full Gear, and now, TV hasn't been the best.
No.
And it's because there's been a big gap with nothing really to build to. But now you've got Revolution. After that, I think we got Double or Nothing. Then all out, all within 6 weeks to 2 months of each other. So it's gonna come thick and fast now. So should be good. But yeah, maybe this is like his attempt at a WrestleMania in conjunction with other promotions and free agents and all of that kind of stuff. Like it'll be very, very interesting. And I don't know if you saw this, but there is I don't know what to call it. There's a company or some other kind of investor out in, I think it may somewhere, maybe Qatar or somewhere like that, that is planning to put on some super show this year. They were like, the names that were signed up for the card were like, Danielson's name was mentioned, Braun Strowman's name was mentioned, like a lot of guys that are either free agents, like say call it top free agents, top AEW guys. They were all named there. Now, Danielson, I think, has come forward and said he won't be there. I think obviously Danielson got some type of his political views against stuff in that side of the world. He's rejected that. I haven't seen any other updates on whether this show is still happening, but it's basically like a WWE Saudi show, but for the indies and all the indies and their top names and stuff like that. It's basically that by some kind of just foreign entity, foreign investor. Like I said, I haven't heard any update on that, but maybe Tony Khan has seen that someone is planning to do that, and like you say, maybe he's planning to do this kind of conglomerate with other promotions to make a US WrestleMania with the Indies and AEW and stuff like that. Could be interesting, but yeah,
or
those are the kind of front runners.
Maybe it might be a UK tour. How about that?
Now that would be good, but I don't know how he would build that as a big announcement sort of thing. I feel like the way he's saying big announcement, I think it's got to be bigger than that at this point.
I'm just saying that Tony Khan, he's also disappointed fans in the past with saying something's a big announcement and it's just like a fart in the wind, or like lift everybody with glue balls. But I mean, it's just we'll see. Well, we'll see. But I mean, it's going to be interesting to if it's any of the ideas that you alluded to, like a big stadium show, and maybe they just want to kind of make that kind of alluding to their WrestleMania because they don't have a marquee show. Everybody says Double or Nothing since it was their first official AEW pay-per-view. That that's their WrestleMania. But I mean, it's and I thought it was All Out because of All In. Started everything with AEW. But so they need some sort of a big marquee show that says that this is what wrestling is now. This is what what fans gravitate to. If this is our biggest show, this is going to be our WrestleMania, or what's going to take over, or eclipse WrestleMania. That would be pretty cool. But who knows? We'll see. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, Wednesday is the day I guess we're gonna hear. He said that the announcement should be ready to be made by Wednesday. So I guess we'll sit on the edge of our chairs and wait patiently for that one. But yeah, a lot happening this past week. A lot of WWE news. We got this AEW news. Quickly, what's your thoughts on the debuting Buddy Matthews?
I just think they shit the bed on that. I don't know.
Really?
Yeah. Oh man, look. To me, they had something going really well with Malachi Black, and I get his history with Brody and stuff like that. They and I like both of them, but I just think there was more of a story and a mystique with Malachi Black just being on his own. I just. I really liked it when he was alone by himself, and he kept on making references to the House of Black, but House of Black kind of like being like his fandom, kind of like the House of Black being kind of like the fans, or so forth. But him just being a standalone act. Now I think they started diluting him a little bit with the association with Andrade, and I think that's when Malachi Black's steam started cooling. And I get with like his association with Brody and stuff like that. Like I was saying, they were a tag team and so forth. And again, then they throw Buddy Matthews in there. I'm just not too sure that that's probably the directions they should go. But look, Buddy Matthews, he's a great talent. I like him a lot. And he's definitely worked on his physique. He's fucking big as
massive,
a brick. Yeah. Built like a brick shit house. But it's going to be interesting seeing where they go from there. Maybe they'll end up. Which there was a tenure there, a time where they had, I think it was when Paul Heyman was in charge of Raw, when he had like Buddy Matthews and Malachi Black on TV for like 6 weeks in a row or something.
Yeah,
I'm serious, like 6 or 7 weeks in a row.
I remember.
I wasn't mad at it because they had fucking awesome matches. So even if this turns into like a feud between them, I wouldn't be disappointed. But I don't think it's the best. It was the best idea the best way to do. First of all, lights come out, lights go on, lights out. That was fucking ridiculous. But I mean, I don't think it was the best way to debut him. But we'll see where it goes. I like him a lot. I mean, I like him a lot. I think they'll give him a fair chance on what he can do there.
Yeah. I like you say, he looks the part. We know he can go. The Malachi Black stuff, it's I think they're putting some more energy into it now since they got the whole faction thing coming together. So let's see how that goes. Excuse me. But yeah, that is the show this week, guys. We hope you enjoyed it. Remember, smash the like button on the video so more people can see the video. And if you haven't already, subscribe to Wrestling Republic on YouTube. Ignacio, any last words before we're done?
Nothing much, Sam. We'll be in tune. Of course, probably next week on the show, we'll be talking about the TK's big announcement on Wednesday, right? And it's imminent. So we'll see what happens. We'll see if he gives everybody blue balls again or not.
Hopefully not. Hopefully not. Guys, we'll be back same time next week. Thanks for joining us. See you soon.